everybody. Welcome to Saturday morning gentle yoga class. If you're just joining in, just get into a comfortable seated position and we'll begin in a few minutes. You want to have a water bottle close by during practice if you need some water. And also, you might want to, if you don't have a wall nearby, you'll want to have a chair or something that you can hold on to for balancing poses. We're going to be working on balance today and back bends, so it would help if you hold on to a chair or a wall when you begin them. But just get comfortable and just begin to calm your mind and relax your body. Focusing on your breath, inhaling and exhaling. And I'd like to thank everybody who's letting us know they're watching the videos, whether it be live or recorded. It really helps us in knowing who's doing the classes and what classes are being utilized to help us. And if you have any feedback on anything you'd like to work on or any questions about poses, just send us a message and we'll get back to you. We're glad everyone's enjoying the classes, and we hope it's helping through this crazy time of coronavirus. Also, a few classes ago I had mentioned about setting an intention or setting an affirmation in the mornings when you get up. A positive thought, how you want your day to look, how you want your day to be, just to bring you some positivity and sorry about that. I'll try to speak up a bit. We're outside today, so there's other noises in the background. But just to have a positive outlook during this time, it helps to have positive thoughts and think that this will all be over soon and we'll be in a better place. So just get comfortable in a seated position, your hands rested on your lap, palms facing up. Just relax your shoulders, lengthen your spine. Feel your sit bones grounded. And just begin to quiet your mind. Breathing in and out through your nose. Connecting your breath with your body. Focusing on your breath brings you to your inner body, your inner thoughts. Begin to relax your shoulders, your arms. Relax your back, your legs, all the way down to your feet. Anytime a thought comes into your mind, just bring your focus back to your breath. Breathing in and out, being in the present moment. Remember, everything you need, you possibly want to be, or you want, is right inside of you. So just be in the present moment and focus on your breath. Take a deep inhale in through your nose and exhale out through your nose. Take another deep inhale in through your nose and slowly exhale out through your nose. Take one more deep inhale in through your nose and slowly exhale out through your nose, releasing any tension you're feeling in your body. Now we're going to take 3 deep inhales in through our nose, but on the exhale, you're going to exhale out through your mouth. So take a deep inhale in through your nose, filling your lungs up with air, and slowly exhale out through your mouth, making sure you're releasing all the air. Inhale through your nose and exhale out through your mouth, getting rid of any stale energy from the night. Inhale through your nose and slowly exhale out through your mouth. Now with your eyes closed, just bring a slight tilt to your chin, bringing your chin towards your chest. Inhaling and exhaling, feeling the stretch up the back of the neck. And on your next inhale, roll your left ear towards left shoulder. And exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, left ear, left shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. You can do this with your own breath, inhaling and exhaling. And then on your next inhale, roll your right ear towards right shoulder. And exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, right ear, right shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. And then on your next inhale, make a complete circle, inhaling on the way up and exhaling on the way around and down. Inhaling forward and up, exhale back and down. Be careful not to pinch the back of your neck. If this bothers the back of your neck, just bring your chin to chest and take a few deep breaths there. And when you're ready, you can go in the opposite direction, inhaling and exhaling. And then bring your head back to neutral and gently open your eyes. With your palms facing up, take a deep inhale and reach your arms overhead. And exhale, bringing your palms together, bring your hands to heart center. If you'd like to set an intention for your practice now, you can do this for gratitude, coming to your mat. And through practice, you can check in with your intention for the day. And then take another deep inhale, reaching your arms up overhead. And turn your palms out and exhale, release back down by your side. Inhale, reach up. Interlace your fingers, place your palms facing the sky. Elongate the spine, and on the exhale, just lean to your left, keeping a flat back. Your right arm is over that right ear. Taking a few deep breaths here, engaging your core, pressing the palms out, and then inhale, come back up to center. Exhale, right, really reaching out through your palms, keeping a flat back. Make sure you're not turning towards that right side. Inhale back up to center and exhale, release. We're going to go into a wide-legged seated position. If you have a blanket under you you're sitting on, you can take that out now. So you're just going to come into a wide-legged seated position. You can have a slight bend in your knees if it's uncomfortable to keep them straight. Keep your fingertips by your side. Press your fingertips into the mat and elongate your spine. Then bring your hands in front of you. And we're going to hinge forward from our hips, keeping a flat back as long as you can. Take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, begin to walk your hands forward, keeping a flat back, hinging from your hips, grounding through your sit bones. You're going to feel the stretch in the inner thighs, lengthening your spine. And then when you can't go any further, take a deep inhale in, and on the exhale, forward fold. Just go to what feels comfortable for you. This is your practice. If something doesn't feel right, just come out of the pose. Take a few deep breaths here. On the inhale and exhale, see if you can get a little further into the pose. Inhale, walk your hands up to center. Bring the sole of your right foot into your left thigh. Have a slight bend in that knee. You're opening up your right hip. Take a deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead. On the exhale, bring that left arm towards your left foot. Your right arm is over that right ear. And you're keeping a flat back, feeling the stretch in that right hip, opening up that right hip. The right arm is reaching towards the right toes. And you're keeping a flat back. You don't want to turn towards that leg. Take a few deep breaths here. Then inhale, using your core, come back up to center. And exhale, release your arms down by your side. Extend that right leg out to the side. Bring the left sole of your foot into your right thigh. Take a deep, opening up that left hip. Make sure your sit bones are grounded. You're not lifting up off of that left hip. You're keeping it grounded. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, bring your right hand towards your right ankle or toes. And that left arm is over your left ear. You can put a bend in that right arm to get a little bit deeper, or place it inside your leg. You're keeping a flat back, and your left arm is over that left ear. Feeling the stretch in that left hip, making sure to stay grounded through the left hip. Take a few deep breaths here, opening up the hips. Inhaling and exhaling. Then inhale, using the core back up to center, and exhale, release. Now we're going to bring the soles of our feet together for bound angle pose. So if it's too much having your feet in, you can have them out a bit, whatever's comfortable for your knees. If it bothers your knees, just come out of the pose. So your soles of your feet are together, and you're going to roll out the arches of your feet. So everything else is touching but the arches of your feet. And then just gently butterfly your legs out to the side. You're opening up your hips. Your hands can be on your feet or on your ankles, and you're really grounding through your sit bones and lengthening your spine, reaching out through the crown of your head. Then bring your legs to stillness and lengthening that spine, pushing down through your sit bones, hinge from your hips, and just begin to slowly fold forward. You want to keep a flat back. It doesn't matter how low that you go. You're just trying to really extend from your low back and reach out through the crown of your head. You're not trying to get your head to the floor, to the mat. You'll feel it in the inner thighs, and really try to lengthen that spine. Then inhale, slowly come back up to center and bring your knees in. And we're going to go onto our hands and knees to go into tabletop. If you need a blanket under your knees, you can put it under there now. So make sure your shoulders are over your wrists and your hips are over your knees. We're going to do a few rounds of cat-cow to get movement in that spine. So we're going to take an inhale for cow. Drop your belly and take your gaze up. And on the exhale, tuck your chin and round your spine. Inhale, drop your belly, take your gaze up. Exhale, tuck your chin and round your spine. You can do this with your own breath, inhaling and exhaling. When you're in cat, really try to create space between you and the mat. This helps with other poses that we do to bring our leg forward from downward facing dog. You're rounding the spine, really creating space between your shoulders also. Opening the chest when you're in cow. And then we'll come back to neutral spine. And on the inhale, extend your right foot back, pushing through your heel. Make sure your hips are squared to the mat, parallel to the mat. Make sure your shoulders are over your wrist. You're engaging your leg, pushing through that heel. And when you're ready, if you want to add your arm, extend your left arm out in front of you with your thumb facing the sky. You're working on balance, engaging the core. Pushing out through your heel, reaching out through your fingertips. Your gaze is looking down. Your head is level with your arm. Keeping a flat back. Engage your core. Take a few deep breaths here. Then bring your hand back down to the mat, your knee back down. Roll out that right wrist. And then inhale, extend your left foot back, pushing through the heel of that foot. Engage your leg, pull your belly button in, engage your core. If you want to add on, extend your right arm out in front of you, thumb facing the sky, reaching out through your fingertips, working on balance. Take a few deep breaths here, pressing that right foot into the mat, keeping you balanced, making sure your leg and your arm are level with your body. And then release your hand back down to the mat, your knee back down, roll out that left wrist. We're going to go into child's pose, so your big toes are overlapping, your knees are a little wider than hip distance apart, and then just lower back onto your feet, bring your torso between your knees, and bring your forehead to the mat. If this is uncomfortable on your shoulders with your arms out in front of you, you can have your arms behind you. Take a few deep breaths here. Check in with your body, how your body's feeling. If ever a pose doesn't feel right, you can always come into child's pose and bring your focus back to your breath. Checking in with your intention for the day. Take a few deep breaths here. Now we're going to come back up to tabletop. We're going to flip our toes and just hover your knees over the mat about 6 inches. You're engaging your thighs here, making sure your shoulders are over your wrist. Then gently push back towards your heels, and then begin to straighten your legs for the first downward facing dog. You can pedal out your feet. You're pushing your chest towards your thighs. You can go up on your toes and see if you can bring those heels down a little more. Because it's the first downward facing dog, you can have a slight bend in your knees. And then inhale, look up between your hands. And exhale, begin to walk your feet towards your hands for forward fold. It's your first forward fold. You can have a slight bend in your knees. Hold opposite elbow to opposite hand. Sway from side to side. And see if you can relax your head. Relax that low back. Lengthening the spine. Your head's getting you deeper into the pose. Then release your hands. And inhale, slowly come up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, release. We're going to take a couple deep breaths in Tadasana in mountain pose. Your feet are hip distance apart, your palms facing forward, shoulder blades back and down. You can close your eyes or keep them open. And just take a few deep breaths here. Connecting back with your breath. Being in the present moment. Now we're going to work on balance today. So we're going to take a deep inhale and reach our arms up overhead for a full body stretch, but we're going to go up on our toes working on balance. So take a deep inhale, reach your arms up overhead, and come up on your toes, working on balance, really reaching out through your fingertips, engaging your legs, lifting your kneecaps, and reaching out through your spine, lengthening your spine. And then exhale, release your arms back down by your side. Inhale, reach up, coming up on your toes, working on balance. You're on the ball of your feet. Taking a few deep breaths. Really see if you can lengthen. And exhale, release. If you can't stay up on your toes, just keep your arms, keep lengthening, and it'll get easier with time. Inhale, reach up. Balance is so important, especially as we get older. Reaching up, reaching those fingers towards the sky, lengthening the spine. And exhale, release. Now we're going to stay on the soles of our feet, and we're just going to take a deep inhale, reach up. Now exhale, turn your palms out and swan dive, forward fold. Take a few deep breaths here, inhaling and exhaling. See if you can let your head get you deeper into the fold. Then inhale, reach up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back, placing your hands on your calves or your thighs to give you a flat back from your low back to the crown of your head. Pressing your palms into your calves or your thighs. You can have your arms on your thighs if that's more comfortable. Reaching out through the crown of your head. Staying here, pulling your belly button in. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. Now we're going to go into our sun salutations. So we'll stand at the front of our mat. And inhale, reach up. You can have a slight back bend. Looking up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, plank. Plant your hands, step back to plank, engage your core. You can come to your knees if you want and flip your toes. You're still working on your arms, working on your core. Whatever's comfortable for you today, where you're at today, is fine. Each day is different. Each time is different. If you're in full plank, push through those heels, engage your core. Now we're not, with control, we're going to lower to the mat, but you don't want to drop your pelvis. You want to keep a flat back. And just slowly, with your elbows by your side, lower your chin and chest down between your hands. Flip your toes, point them back, press your palms into the mat, and come up for cobra. You're pointing through your toes, you're opening your chest, your shoulder blades are back and down, your gaze is forward. Exhale back down to the mat. Flip your toes and push back to downward facing dog. Take a few deep breaths here. Inhale, look up between your hands. Exhale, walk or step forward, forward fold. Inhale, reach up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. We're going to do the next one a little bit faster. Match your movement, match your breath to your movement. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank. You can come to your knees if you want. Hold plank, pull your belly button in, engage your core, pushing out through your heels with control, keeping your elbows close to your side. Bring your chin and chest down between your hands, coming to the mat. Flip your toes and push up to cobra. Take a few deep breaths here. Your shoulder blades are back and down. Be careful not to pinch your low back. Exhale back down to the mat. Flip your toes. Inhale back to downward facing dog. And exhale. Take a few deep breaths here. Look up between your hands. Walk or step forward, forward fold. Inhale, reach up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, release. We'll take a few deep breaths in Tadasana in mountain pose. We're going to inhale, reach up. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, plank. Plant your hands, step back to plank. Engage your core. Hold plank. You can come to your knees. Slowly lower down to the mat. Flip your toes. Come up for cobra. Opening up the chest. Engaging, pushing through your toes. Exhale back down to the mat. Inhale, push back to downward facing dog. On the inhale, raise that right foot up and back. And see if you can bend that knee and just open up that hip, that right hip. So you're stacking your hips, you're opening up that right hip. And then bring the hips squared back to the mat, keeping that foot bent, that knee bent. Bring your right foot in towards your chest. And then your spine is rounded. This is where cat-cow comes in. Bringing that knee to your chest. See if you can bring that foot between your hands. If you can't, you can walk it there, wherever's comfortable. Now we're going to come up on the ball of that foot, that left foot, into high lunge. So when you feel balance, come up to high lunge. So you're pushing through the ball of that left foot. You have a bend in that right knee. Bring your arms to goal post, shoulder blades back and down, and when you're ready, raise your arms up to the sky for high lunge. Take a few deep breaths here, really lengthening the spine. You can take your gaze up for a little bit of a back bend if you want, or keep your gaze forward. You're really pushing through that back foot, and you have a bend in that front knee for high lunge. Then drop the back heel down so it's right behind the front heel. Your back toes are at a 45-degree angle for warrior one. Take a few deep breaths here. You can have a slight back bend. Then bring your hands down to frame your foot, front foot, and just turn that back leg so your toes are forward and push back to downward facing dog. Take a few deep breaths here. Then inhale, extend that left leg up and back for three-legged dog. Then bend that left knee and see if you can turn that left hip to stack your hips to open up that left hip. You can look underneath your left armpit if that helps. You're really trying to stack those hips, opening up that left hip. Take a few deep breaths here. Then with your knee bent, come back to squaring your hips to the mat. Bring that left knee in towards your chest, rounding your spine. Begin to shift your weight forward and see if you can bring that left foot between your hands. If you can't, you can walk it to it's between the hands. You're coming up on the ball of that right foot and getting ready to come into high lunge. When you find balance, just come up, bringing your hands to your thighs. The wider your stance, the easier it is to balance. When you find balance, bring your arms to goal post and then raise them up to the sky. Take a few deep breaths here, really working those thighs, pressing through the ball of that back foot. And bring your hands to heart center. Drop that back foot down. You might need to bring that right foot in a little bit more. Your toes are at a 45-degree angle. And then raise your arms up for warrior one. Take a few deep breaths here. Now bring your arms down, your hands down, frame that front foot. Turn your back toes towards the front and step back to downward facing dog. Take a few deep breaths here. Notice if you can get your heels a little further down for downward facing dog. Inhale, look up between your hands. Exhale, step or walk forward, forward fold. Inhale, reach up, hands overhead. Exhale, hands heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Hands by your side. We'll take a few deep breaths in Tadasana in mountain pose. Focusing on your breath. Now we're going to go into a balancing pose, into dancer pose. And for this, if you are by a wall, either stand by a wall or have a chair to hold on to for dancer pose. The chair it should be out in front of you for this pose. So for dancer pose, you want to have your drishti, your stationary point, to focus on out in front of you before we start. A couple feet out in front of you. Your hands are on your hips. Your weight is evenly distributed on both feet. Make sure you're grounding through all four corners of your feet. And you're just going to shift your weight into that right leg. And see if you can pick up your left foot. You're holding on to the outside of your left foot. Or if that's uncomfortable, you can hold on to your ankle. For me, it's the outside of the foot. Now you can stay here and work on balance. If you fall out of it, you can come back into it. You want your hips squared. What you're going to eventually do is your steadiness and balance is how much pressure you're putting into that hand. You're balancing by placing pressure into your foot against your hand. And you'll just begin to come forward. The standing leg is engaged. It's strong. You have a slight bend in that knee so you don't hyperextend your knee. You're focusing on that point. If you're comfortable here, you can just begin to hinge from your hips forward, extending that back leg out, and then extend that arm out in front of you. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see. But if you come out of it, just try to come back into it, or you can just work on the foot, the balance on the one leg. This is really working your ankles, your calves, your thighs. It brings clarity because you're focusing on balance, and it's a strength pose. So you're pressing that foot into that hand. If you're comfortable, your hips are squared, you begin extending that leg back. If you have a chair, you can hold on to the chair in front of you. If you're comfortable, extend that arm back, focusing on a stationary point. Your back thigh is parallel with the floor. Your hips are parallel with the floor. Be careful not to hyperextend that standing leg. And then when you're ready to come out, come back to center. Release your foot back down to the mat. Shake your legs out. We'll take a few deep breaths in Tadasana. Balancing poses work the whole body. So you're focusing on your point, your drishti. You're working from your foot, your ankle, the strength in your ankle, keeping you up, balancing, and it's bringing your mind and your body together. And it helps us to focus too in our thoughts and throughout our day. Take a few deep breaths here. Now making sure you're grounded through all four corners of your feet. You can have your chair out in front of you. We're going to just hands on the hips. Shift your weight into that left leg. You can have a micro bend in that left knee. Shift your weight into your left leg. Have a micro bend in that left knee. And then just pick up that right foot. You can hold on to the outside of your right foot, or you can hold on to your ankle, whatever's more comfortable. And you can just work on balance here. One side you'll notice is different than the other. Some days your balance is on, some days it's a little off. You're using, what's making you stable is grounding through that straight leg, but also pressing your foot into your hand is keeping your balance, keeping you stable. If you're comfortable here, you can begin to hinge from your hips forward. Lifting that back leg, pressing into that hand. If you fall out of it, like I did, you can just get back into it, get your focus, and then begin to hinge. And if you're comfortable, extend that arm parallel to the floor, to the mat. Getting that back thigh level with the floor. The more you go, this side's bad for me. Getting the back thigh level, parallel with your mat. And then extend your arm. And then when you're ready, shake it out. As you notice, each side is different. Some days balance is there, some days it's not. We'll take a few deep breaths in Tadasana. And we'll come to the front of the mat and take a deep inhale, reaching your arms up overhead. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Really take a few deep breaths here to counterbalance for dancer pose. And then exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank, engage your core. It's the last plank if you want to come to your knees. Press through those heels, really spread out those toes. And then slowly lower with control down to the mat. We'll take a few deep breaths in crocodile pose. So your forearms are stacked over each other. Your toes are pointing out to the corners of the mat. And just rest your forehead on your forearms. And just focus on your breath. Releasing any tension you're feeling in your body. Breathing in and out through your nose. This is a great resting pose. This is one of the better ones because you'll feel your belly rising and falling. And it really gets the air in your lungs, filling your lungs up with air, and then completely emptying your lungs. Now we're going to come up to Sphinx pose. So go on, point your toes towards the back of the mat, and then come onto your forearms. Your palms are flat on the mat. Your shoulders are stacked over your elbows. You're pressing down through your feet, and you're engaging your core here, pulling your belly button in, and just pressing your forearms and palms into the mat. Your gaze is straight ahead. We'll take a few deep breaths here. Now from here, you can stay in Sphinx pose and just continue to focus on your breath. If you want to add on, we're going to go into bow pose. So this is another back bending pose. So if you do have back problems, don't go into bow pose. Just stay in Sphinx. If you don't, then bend that left leg up, left foot. See if you can reach your left arm, your left hand to your left ankle or your left foot. If it's uncomfortable, go back into Sphinx pose. So if you can reach that foot, then you can stay here, or maybe see if you can lift your right leg and grab it with your right hand. This is bow pose. You have your hands on your feet. You're pressing into your hands. If this is comfortable and it doesn't bother your back, your tailbone is tucked under here. You're pressing your hips into the mat. If you're comfortable here, you can lift your feet, lifting your thighs up off the mat for bow pose. Your gaze is forward, and you're pressing your hips into the mat, your pelvis, your tailbone is tucked under. You're lifting by pressing your feet into your hands and taking your gaze forward. Take a few deep breaths here. If it bothers your knees, come out of the pose. You can keep your thighs on the mat if that's easier. Take a few deep breaths here. Then lower your legs, release your feet down to the mat, and we're going to push back into child's pose. Big toes are overlapping, your knees are wider than hip distance apart, and just lower your torso to the mat. Take a few deep breaths here. Then we'll come up to seated position to staff pose. So your legs are out in front of you. You can have a slight bend in your knees. Your palms are by your fingertips are on the mat. Really lengthen your spine, reaching out through the crown of your head. Feel your sit bones grounded and lengthening the spine. Pressing your palms into the mat. Take a few deep breaths here. Then take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, just begin to walk your hands forward with a flat back, hinging from your hips, reaching out through the crown of your head, lengthening that spine. You really worked that back today. Wherever you're at is fine. Take another deep inhale, and on the exhale, begin to forward fold. Then slowly walk your hands back up to center. Bring your right knee in towards your chest. You can leave it here, or for more of a stretch in that right hip, you can cross it over the straight leg. Wrap your left arm around that right knee, hugging it into your chest. Really ground down and lengthen that spine. Bring your right hand behind your right hip. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, just begin to twist, looking over your right shoulder, twisting to your right. Take a few deep breaths here. You're not twisting just from your neck, you want to from your rib cage. Lengthen that spine before you twist, and then exhale on the twist. Taking a few deep breaths, see if you can get deeper into the pose. Then release the twist, come back to center. Straighten that right leg out. Bring your left knee in towards your chest so you can stay here. If you want more of a stretch in that left hip, cross that left over your straight leg. Wrap your right arm around that left knee, hugging it into your chest. Your left hand goes behind your left hip. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, twist. Take a few deep breaths here. See if with each inhale and exhale you can get deeper into the twist. Release the twist, uncross your leg. We're going to go down to the mat. So lay flat on the mat and hug your knees into your chest. You can rock from side to side. And then hugging your right knee in towards your chest. Extend that left leg up to the sky, keeping your foot flexed, pushing through the heel of that foot. Take a few deep breaths here. And then slowly lower that left leg, keeping it engaged. Lower it to about 6 inches off the mat. Engage your core, pulling that right knee in towards your chest, pushing out through the straight leg, through your heel, and hold. Slowly lower that left leg to the mat. Place your left hand on the outside of that right knee. Bring your right hand down to the mat, slightly away from your body, palm facing down. And then take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, just slowly bring that right knee across your body, rolling onto the left hip, bringing it to the opposite side of the mat. Keeping your shoulder blades flat on the mat. Your knee might not get down to the mat. It's okay. You're just feeling the stretch in that right hip. Take a few deep breaths there. And you can take your gaze over your right hand. Your right hand is out to the side, palm facing down. Shoulder blades flat on the mat. Take your gaze over your right fingertips. Feeling the stretch in that right hip. Then inhale, come back to center. Bring your right hand back to your side. Hug that left knee in towards your chest with your right. Rock from side to side. Then place your hands on your left knee, hugging that left knee into your chest. Extend your right foot up to the sky, pushing through that heel, making sure your low back is on the mat, flat on the mat. You're engaging that leg and hugging that left knee in towards your chest. Take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, begin to lower that right foot down to hover the mat about 6 inches off the mat. You're still pushing through that heel. Your foot is flexed. Your kneecap is lifted. Engage that leg. Engage your core, holding up that leg. Take a few deep breaths here.
lower that leg down to the mat. Bring your right hand to the outside of that left knee. Bring your left arm out to the side, palm facing down. With your shoulder blades flat on the mat, take a deep inhale, and on the exhale, begin to bring that left knee across your body to the opposite side, rolling onto that right hip. Take your gaze over your left fingertips. Now your knee's not going to reach the mat, but your foot might. Or if it doesn't, you can just keep it up. You're feeling the stretch in that hip, in that left hip. Inhale back up to center. Hug your knees into your chest. Rock from side to side. And we'll get ready for Shavasana. So for Shavasana, your legs are flat on the mat. Your feet can fall out to the corners of the mat. Your arms are slightly away from your body with your palms facing up. Your shoulder blades are tucked under. And just begin to focus on your breath, letting go of any thoughts that come into your mind. If there's too much pressure on your back, you can roll up a blanket and put it under your knees. And just begin to calm the mind. Relax your body. Feel your belly rising and falling as you inhale and exhale. Feeling your chest rise and fall. Relax your forehead. Relax your eyes. Remove your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Relax your shoulders, your upper arms, your forearms, all the way to the tips of your fingers. Relax your chest, your abdomen, your hips. Relax the front of your thighs, your knees, your shins. Relax your ankles, the tops of your feet, all the way to the tips of your toes. Relax the soles of your feet, the backs of your calves, the backs of your thighs. Relax your low back, mid back, and upper back. Relax the back of your shoulders, the back of your neck, all the way to the crown of your head. Continue your breath past the crown of your head, all the way past the tips of your toes. A continuous flow of air. Begin
begin to wiggle your fingers and toes and move your head from side to side. When you're ready, roll on to your favorite side. With your eyes closed, come up to seated position, hands to heart center, thumbs at your sternum, a slight bow to your head. Light must come from inside. You cannot ask the darkness to leave. You must turn on the light. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. Every day you step onto your mat, it's a new day, a new beginning, a new start. Thank you for sharing your journey. May the light in me honor the light in you. Namaste. I hope everyone has a good day today. Drink a lot of water. We really worked on balance and back bends today, so just be mindful that drink a lot of water. And thank you for joining the class. Have a great day.